And hello, welcome back. Beata Shillet here, the Growth Architect, and welcome to our second part of our training on the 5-star success blueprint. How do you grow, scale, and build your business? How do you grow your authority? How do you scale your impact? How do you take the shortcuts required to grow your business step by step by step? So in this second training, what we are going to be talking about today is the offer. And the offer is a way of designing a client transformation journey. So I want you to think about how typically a transaction works. A transaction works is that somebody has created something that they put out in the market, and somebody sees it, he looks at it, he touches it, he goes, oh, I like myself a LaCroix, I'm going to buy it. And then that is the transaction. Now, when we go into a higher ticket sale, or especially in the services industry, coaches, consultants, experts, it starts to change a little bit. So there's multiple models in how you make an offer. And I want you to think about this from the perspective of the transformation journey. So let's just talk about that here for a second. Transformation journey is best explained by the example of going into a French patisserie. So for those of you who've ever been to France or, seen a baguette before, the smell of this baguette is so amazing that when you walk into the store, all you want to do is you want to take this baguette, you want to rip a piece off and shove it in your mouth and immediately start eating it. Now, you can, of course, eat the entire bread, the entire baguette all at once, but that is probably not advisable and certainly not a balanced meal. But you can consume the entire baguette in cutting it into slices or breaking pieces off, and you'll have one for breakfast, you'll have some with your salad for lunch, and some maybe as a garlic bread with your dinner tonight. Or you freeze some of it and you'll have it some other time. So you can consume the entire thing on your own. You just don't want to shove the whole thing in your mouth all at once. A client transformation journey is very much the same. There's a term that I coined, and I call it a knowledge vomit. And the knowledge vomit is when experts like you, and please do put it in the comments if you got busted on this one. When you're so knowledgeable and you see the problem and all you want to do is you want to go like, then you would just give the entire solution all at once onto your client and just vomit the whole thing on them, which of course, as you can imagine, is not advisable. It doesn't make sense for the client. The client is completely overwhelmed, and that caused a whole bunch of other problems, which I'll go into a little bit more in detail in just a moment. The objective of the client transformation journey is that you say, somebody that comes to me, let's just make this real with how this works in growth architecture. Somebody who comes to me typically has these 3 problems. They either have been in business for a while and the business is not growing and the model isn't quite right. So they do need to turn their talent into business. They have a talent, but no matter what they try, it just doesn't work. That typically is when there's a disconnect in the transformation journey between their passion and what they've been told on how to build their business, or what they're building their business with, or how they're building their business. And then they get frustrated because the techniques or the tactics that they're using are not in congruence with who they are as a person or their overall idea on their business. And that just cannot work. So people come to me to help them fix that. The second thing people come to me with is people that have an amazing amount of knowledge. And then they come to me and they need the signature growth system. They need to figure out, how does all this knowledge fit under one umbrella? And how do we cut and slice this and in the different pieces and the offers, on how do we put that together? The third part on when people come to me is typically people that have a business, but it's been stagnant at maybe like $1 million, maybe at 2 million. And now they really want to scale the business, but they need a strategy. Now, as we're developing a strategy on how to scale the business, they now have, all kinds of systems and people that need to be put in place in order for them to take that business to the next level. So what I want you to do today is I want you to take your entire knowledge and roll it out in a dough. And we're going to bake it then we're going to cut it into slices. So in the first training, we talked about the first piece of the 5-Star Success Blueprint, which is the idea. If you have not watched that, you need to go back and watch that because this is building on it. When you have flushed out who you're selling to, why this is an ideal client, and the solution that they need, you can now go and say, I know who they are. I know where they are. I know what their problems are. I know I'm the right person to solve it. Now I can engineer my solution for their problem. Now that is exactly what this training is about. So I want you to go and sit down and look at this in the 5-Star Success Blueprint that hopefully you've already downloaded. If you have not downloaded the 5-Star Success Blueprint, where I give you a little bit more detail on it, I want you to go to that link right now, and I want you to enter the code, because you're going to get this for free just because you're part of this group. And then take a look at this printout because there's some stuff for you to look at and to evaluate. So the offer is directly in relationship to what the client needs to solve their problem. Now, this may be a very simple problem. So it might be, let's give me a very simple thing. Let's say your hair is too long. Yeah, that's the problem. You need to go to the hairdresser and get it cut. That's a simple problem. But if your hair is falling out and you're losing a lot of hair, not just do you need a haircut, but you actually need a solution to help you with growing your hair or reinvigorating your hair, or you need color, or you need something else that, needs to be fixed with your hair growth, your hair retention, I guess, or something like that, then that's what you need. Multiple solutions. You need the cut plus the color plus. In the services industry, when we look at coaches and consulting, there oftentimes is a journey that our client goes through with the different solutions that we can offer, because the client has an idea of what they think their first problem is. And then it's our job, as we guide them through the problem solution that we provide, that they are then identifying, oh, you're absolutely correct. I also need that. I also need that. I want you to think about this from the perspective of a menu. Like when you go into a restaurant, a lot of times you may say, I want Chinese or I want Japanese, but you don't really know exactly what you're going to order until you're there. You don't know what you want until you have the menu in your hand. Your offer needs to be like a menu. Your client needs to be able to look at this offer and go, okay, that makes sense. Oh, I need this, I need this, I need this. But if you give them too much in the beginning, then it's overwhelming. And they cannot do it because it's the knowledge vomit. So you need to slice and dice the solution that you offer into different pieces. And that together should be a client transformation. Now, here is a huge issue I see all the time. People have different solutions and they feel that they're from somebody completely different. I know somebody who is phenomenal in teaching people how to do a TED Talk. And then there's a writing workshop. But the writing workshop doesn't look like it's even connected to the TED Talk training. Then I spoke to somebody who is a phenomenal mindset trainer, but the podcast isn't entirely connected to the business. And even though there's literally millions of downloads on the podcast, the business itself is not successful as much as it should be, because there's a disconnect in the messaging. There's no client transformation offered, because you want to get people from the podcast to go to the first experience of the client transformation journey, and then slowly but surely guide them through the next and the next and the next and the next, until the client transformation that you offer is complete and full. The challenge that I often see is around the understanding of, but I'm really good at this and this and this and this and this, but it doesn't. So the challenge that I often see is that it is very difficult for people that have multiple expertise to be able to put that under one umbrella. For that, as I said, that's what we do the signature growth system for. But for this specific training for the turn your talent into a business using the 5-star success blueprint to grow your business. So for the purposes of this particular training, you are looking at this from a transformational journey in the sense of what's the first thing that they need from you? What's the second thing that they need from you? What's the next thing they need from you? And what's the next thing they need from you? And now you create the offer. Each one of the pieces of your offer has to solve a specific problem. You may be inclined to say, well, Beate, that's not fair. If they come to me and they're signing up for a 5 coaching package, then you need to be very clear about what is the outcome for this 5-piece coaching package, because you're not going to be able in 5 sessions to do everything that they need. But you can say it's going to take 5 sessions to do X. It's going to take 10 sessions to do X. And it's going to take 20 sessions to do this. And then you can build your packages around it. So as you're creating your offer, you think about all the different problems that they have, and maybe just write this down on a piece of paper. What are the problems that are having? What are the solutions that you're offering? And then you group what you're willing to solve for them in this particular offer that only solves this one problem. Not all of them, because that's the knowledge vomit that's overwhelming. You also want your client to have a feeling that they're accomplishing something. So if they do the first thing and they've done this, they can clap themselves on the shoulder and say, I've done this. Yay. Now I'm going to move on to the next thing. And then they accomplish that. And then they're going to move on to the next thing. And then they accomplish that. It's a much better client transformation journey. So think about this from when you are, let's say you go to the gym and you take a class at the gym. And in the beginning, you have to take a beginner class, and it takes you 10 beginner classes to get to the intermediate classes. And it takes you 10 intermediate classes to go to the advanced classes. And then it's going to take you 10 classes to get to the expert status, because you have to build up all your conditioning. So people already are familiar with these kinds of concepts in sales and in you providing the solution for them. So all you really have to do is tie into that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. But what you cannot do is you cannot be the gym that says, I'm going to give you a 100-piece session that I want you to pay in advance. And then I'm going to make sure that over these 100 sessions of an unspecified period of time, you're going to get from beginner to advanced status. Nobody's going to want that. People want to know, how much is it going to take to get me from here to there, and from there to there, and from there to there, and from there to there. So follow these kinds of concepts. The other pieces that we need to think about from the journey is what actually is the minimum viable offer. A minimum viable offer is the minimum that you need to offer to make it a good experience. You can always add more later. You need to test the concept before you roll it out fully and completely and you add all the bells and whistles, because what if this offer doesn't work? A lot of times what I also see is that people create these elaborate offers and then they don't understand on how to connect this to the actual problem. I'm going to give you an example, actually a very, very painful example. I had a podcast interview with somebody who was working on a financial fitness product. And it was a course that was relatively high priced. It was a self-guided course that was $5,000. And it was to help people understand financial fitness. Now, I have great hesitation that any client out there that has problems with money is going to look at this from the perspective saying, I think I need to take a financial fitness course because I suck with money. That's not what people think. What people think is, I need more money. So the solution cannot be around something that they're unaware of. The solution has to be around something that they're fully aware of and that they want. So they want to figure out how to keep more of their money. So they're looking for something other than an educational course that will teach them that they're basically financial imbeciles. That's not going to work. The offer has to be interesting to them as to where they are right now. Because if the offer is not congruent with what I want at this time, I'm not going to buy it. Sure, I know I should go to the gym. Sure, I know I should have a personal trainer, but do I want that? No, I don't even really want to go to the gym. And if I go to the gym, I just want to kind of like do as little as possible with the maximum results. So why would I want to pay anybody? But I will pay somebody if I have a promise of something that I really want. So if I want more energy for my grandchild and I want to be fitter so I don't get so tired, now that is something that is desirable for me. I mean, how many grandparents have you seen that get winded when they walk up and down one flight of stairs? They go, well, if I'm chasing a 2-year-old, I better be fitter because I need to keep up with this small child that I want to spend some time with. Or you realize that you need to be around for your grandchildren and you want to step into that higher fitness level because you want to be around to make sure that they have that grandparent that they so richly deserve. But again, my point here to you is in this training on the 5-Star Success Blueprint, there's really a lot of psychology that goes into it. You have to at all times go and crawl into the brains of your potential client. That's why we did the airtight avatar. I told you in the previous training, if you don't have that, you may really want to look into that. airtightavatar.com, because it gives you all the psychology. You're selling to the psychology of something that they want. You cannot sell to something that they need. I mean, unless it's toilet paper. But who enjoys buying toilet paper? That's a fairly easy decision. But on a multi-$1,000 package for a coach or consultant or a 1-year engagement with someone, you're going to have to really offer a serious transformation that is geared towards something that they actually want themselves. Otherwise, you're in the convincing business, not in the serving business. Now, again, I've said this before and I want to say it again. It doesn't mean that you're not going to give them what they need. Of course, you're going to give them what they need, but they don't need to know that. The outcome of growth architecture is you'll know how to set up a business. You know all the shortcuts on how to get there fast. And the only reason that matters to you is because you want to go on vacation. You want to pay private school. You want to have a new car. You want to make these car payments. You want to provide for your family. You want to have extra income. You want to feel good about yourself. You want to feel like you haven't wasted your time. You want to feel valued. You want to feel that you're making an impact in this world. That's the only reason you're doing this. Don't do it for me. Not that you ever would. But this kind of psychology, you need to understand for your clients. Otherwise, it's pointless. Because then you're trying to push something on them and then you feel like this horrible snake oil salesman. But when I sit on a call with somebody and I really listen, and I really, really, really listen, and I hear what they want, then I can help them with a solution that's geared toward that. And that's what you need to do. You need to talk to your clients. You need to find out what it is that hurts them and then build your offer directly to that and then remember that transformation journey. So a couple of things I want to mention today. So number one, if you have not done so already, download the 5-Star Success Blueprint. If you have not taken the quiz, What's Your Talent Worth? I recommend you to do this right now. The quiz, What's Your Talent Worth? Will spit out a mathematical formula that will tell you exactly what your earning potential is. Your earning potential, it's called your earning potential for a reason. It probably is not the number that you're making right now, but it's a mathematical calculation that is actually shockingly accurate. But it is designed to give you this goal so you can see if you actually follow the 5-Star Success Blueprint and you are taking the steps to turn your talent into a business, on whether you do this on your own or whether you want to hire us to help you with that, is irrelevant. But that's the number that you can achieve. So go to whatsyourtalentworth.com and check this out. And then take a look at that number and then really look at that number and say, if that is possible for me, what are you going to do about this, right? Because if that number tells you you can make 750,000, 1.5 million, and you're currently making 80 or 100, there's a huge disconnect. That's why you are here, to fix that. Because if you have that earning potential with the experience to make that money and you're not making that money, then there is a disconnect. Then the business model is not working, the offer is not working, or any of the other pieces that we're going to go through in this training. That's why you're here. So take this seriously. A wise man once said to me, you get out what you put in. So put enough in here so you're going to get something out of it. And this is a time of yours that's well spent. Put it in the comments what you're taking away from today's training. We'd love to hear from you. If you already taken the quiz and you have your number, I'd love to see the number. And if you don't want to say it publicly, DM it to me and I'll take a look at it and let me know where you are with your number right now and what your number is saying, how big the discrepancy is, because that in itself is a great starting point for us to figure out what's not working and what's disconnected in your business. I hope this helps you and I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for watching this training. Share this with some other person, one other person, two other people that need to hear what we have talked about today. And I see you again in the next training. Watch the schedule for the announcement. Thank you so much for listening and watching.